On June the 1st of 2025, a vigil in Boulder, Colorado turned into a scene of terror. A man identified as Mohammed Salbri Soliman attacked a group of participating in a Run for Their Lives event, a weekly gathering advocating for the release of Israeli hostages held in Gaza. Witnesses say he shouted "Free Palestine" while throwing Molotov cocktails and spraying the crowd with a makeshift flamethrower. Among the 8 injured was an 88-year-old. The FBI is investigating it as an act of terror, and this incident has reignited an uncomfortable but urgent question. Do Israeli policies fuel threats to Jews abroad? Since the Hamas-led attack on Israel on October the 7th of 2023, the world has witnessed a dramatic surge in anti-Semitic incidents, not just online, but in real-world violence targeting synagogues, schools, and individuals. Part of that global anger has been driven by the scale of Israel's response in Gaza. Strikes on crowded areas like the Jabalia refugee camp, where hundreds were reportedly killed or injured, drew condemnation from the United Nations and a range of Western allies. Israel's blockade of food, water, fuel and medical supplies into Gaza has been labelled collective punishment by several humanitarian agencies.
I don't think it's fair that abroad there are people that conflate issues with the Israeli government. What the Israeli government is doing, rightly or wrongly, in my view, is that it's often making a lot of mistakes. But I think attacks on Jews abroad is purely anti-Semitism, and it has nothing to do, or should have nothing to do, with the Israeli government. The fact that it does have things to do with it is more on the hands of those who are actually perpetrating these terrorist incidents, not the Israeli government.
That Jews should be targeted in the outside of Israel simply because of the actions of the Netanyahu government. There are many Jews globally that actually are not only supportive of the Palestinians.
Millions around the world have poured into the streets, from London to Los Angeles, accusing Israel of war crimes and calling for a ceasefire. Some of those protests have remained peaceful. However, others have spilled into targeted violence against Jewish communities, thousands of miles away from the conflict zone. In the United States alone, the Anti-Defamation League recorded 9,354 anti-Semitic incidents in 2024, the highest ever since they began tracking in 1979. That's about 25 incidents per day, one every hour. Over half were linked to anti-Israel or anti-Zionist sentiment. In France, official data shows that anti-Semitic acts nearly quadrupled in 2023, the last 3 months of which that year, immediately following the Gaza's war outbreak, saw as many anti-Semitic incidents as the previous 3 years combined. Australia saw a similar trend between October 2023 and September of 2024, with over 2,000 anti-Semitic incidents were recorded, a staggering 316% increase compared to the year prior. And these numbers aren't just statistics, they're tied to real-world attacks. In Washington, D.C. in May, 2 Israeli embassy staffers were fatally shot outside the Capitol Jewish Museum. The shooter was reportedly shouting anti-Israel slogans. In Melbourne, Australia, a synagogue was firebombed in December, leaving 1 person injured and a place of worship badly damaged. In Berlin, a tourist was stabbed at the Holocaust Memorial by a man who later told the police he wanted to, quote, kill Jews. And just last week, several synagogues in Paris, including the Shoah Memorial, were defaced with green paint in a coordinated vandalism spree. Authorities across continents say that while criticism of Israel is legitimate in democratic societies, what they're seeing is different. They're seeing Jews being targeted for actions taken by a government an ocean away. The Israeli government has not commented publicly on this global trend, but Jewish organizations worldwide have warned that the line between political criticism and hate speech is being crossed with increasing frequency and with deadly consequences.
Well, they do obviously do exacerbate global anti-Semitism, but I think it's victim blaming. I think that what we need to do is to look at why this anti-Semitism exists in the first place. And as I said earlier, the conflation of Jews with Israel is actually disgraceful. The vast majority of Jews do support Israel, as the vast majority of Indians abroad support India. And I think that the question really needs to be not whether Israel should be doing this, that, or the other to stop anti-Semitism abroad, which is a scourge of today's society, but what the Israeli government should be doing to help Israel and the Palestinians into a new era in the Middle East. And that really has to be the prime issue, whether or not there is security for Israelis and that the 7th of October will not come again or not ignite itself in the Middle East. And I also think that we have to find a way of moving forward with the Arab Middle East, with the forward-looking countries, to see how we can build a better future against our real enemies, against Iran, against Islamism, extremists. And I think that everyone has a problem. Many countries in the world have a problem with extremists within their own societies, and they have to deal with it. But I don't think it's possible to put all ills and all blame on Israel. And although coming from Israel and being in Israel, I do think that we need to look seriously at our policies and how they are helping the future of the Middle East.
Whether Israeli policies cause anti-Semitism is a matter of debate, but the data points to a consistent pattern. When tensions escalate in Gaza, attacks on Jews increase elsewhere. For more global issues explained, follow NewsX World.